Now the Reds are being introduced. Donnie Bench going to first base. Perez. Morgan to second. Concepcion to short. Rose to third. Out to left field goes George Foster. Geronimo to center. Griffey to right field. And in just a moment, 24-year-old Don Gullett. There he is, coming out from Lynn, Kentucky. That's about 100 miles from Cincinnati. And he's out for his second time. In Game 1, he was matching Tiant, spinning shutout innings until the Red Sox knocked him out in the seventh with 6 runs in a game that the Red Sox won in the opener 6-0. The breeze tonight is blowing in slightly against the hitters from third to first, from third to home.
Can't we talk with Frank Malzone, who was following this ball club the latter part of the year? He watched Don Gullett along with Eddie Casco, another one of the super scouts. You mentioned Ray Shaw, who followed Cincinnati, or rather the Red Sox. He told us that some games that he charted, Gullett, he threw 9 of 10 fastballs. A couple of games he threw up to 8 forkballs, which moves down and away sometimes to right-handed hitters. Hard curveball. He doesn't throw too many off-speed pitches, so they'll be geared for the fastball, and the Red Sox are a pretty good fastball-hitting club. But he has an amazing fastball when he's right.
Here's a 4-way look at Gullett. He has a forkball, too, that you'll see that'll be a peculiar-looking pitch to you. That's his off-speed pitch, forkball. Cuts his fastball for his slider. Curveball. Here he is in slow motion. Don Gullett, certainly one of the best left-handers in the game. He was All-State in baseball, basketball, and football during his high school career at Kentucky. In the June 1969 free agent draft, he was Cincinnati's first choice, and they chose wisely. He has the best won-and-loss percentage of any active pitcher right now in the major leagues, with 80 wins and 41 losses. Nothing in one in the World Series. An amazing season for him. He was out 2 months with a broken thumb and still wound up with 15 wins. The Red players think, Marty Brennaman, that he would have been maybe a 25-game winner had he pitched all the way. And here you go now for the play-by-play.
Thanks very much, Kurt, and hello again, everybody. Juan Benitez will lead it off for the Boston Red Sox. This big game, the final game of the 3-game set here in Cincinnati before we once again change scenes and head back toward Fenway Park in Boston on Saturday afternoon. Benitez waiting, swinging, and fouling away the first pitch. Kurt and Tony talking about Don Gullett. He might well be, Tony, the best all-around athlete on this Cincinnati Reds ball club. Feels his position well, an outstanding pitcher, a pretty good hitting pitcher, good speed. This guy can pretty much do it all. 2 strikes quickly on Benitez.
I guess anybody who can score 70-some points, as we look at Denny Doyle, 72 in a football game's got to be pretty good.
Now, wait a minute now. Only 11 touchdowns, though. 6 extra points.
Grounded to the right side. Joe Morgan will play it, and Benitez an easy out.
That was the forkball, I believe, Marty. Down and away from the right-handed hitter.
Denny Doyle will be up next for Boston. Doyle, so far in this World Series, has had 5 hits and 17 times up. And as we pointed out, this man is pretty much a veteran of Major League Baseball. Philadelphia, the California Angels, the club the Red Sox picked him up from, and certainly an outstanding deal for Boston. This guy did a job for him, batting .310 and .298 overall. Gullett hoping for better things tonight, and throwing nothing but strikes here to the first 2 Boston hitters.
He and Morgan have showed us how to play second base in this series.
Gullett's first World Series decision, a losing one against Tiant and the Red Sox Saturday afternoon. Breaking ball is by the first baseman. That'll be in for at least a pair. As you see the right fielder, Ken Griffey, running the ball down. Here's Doyle. He'll go to third. The throw from Concepcion, and not in time. So Denny Doyle immediately putting instantaneous pressure on Don Gullett and the Reds with a bouncing ball between Tony Perez and the foul line. And here's Ken Griffey. We talked about that problematical area in right field in the first game of this series here. Griffey having problems hitting Concepcion with the throw to Pete Rose not in time, and Doyle is in with a 1-out triple.
That was still a great throw by Concepcion. It didn't look like it'd even be close, and it ended up to be a fairly close play at third.
Interesting the way they defensed Doyle. They played him to hit the left field, and yet they threw him an off-speed pitch, enabling him to pull the ball by Parrott. The infield's in.
Fastball is up to Carl Yastrzemski. Denny Doyle leading off at third base, a one-out triple to right field as Boston bids to get on the board in the very first inning here. One ball and one strike. Tony mentioned the Cincinnati infield is drawn in. Series tied at 2 games apiece. And that's a strike, and plate umpire George Maloney appeared to have to think about that pitch for a moment before calling it strike 2.
Well, the expression you just saw on Yastrzemski's face told you what he thought about the pitch. He thought it was inside and high. Johnny jerked the ball in just a little.
That's going to be deep enough to get the run in. Griffey makes the play, and here's Doyle tagging and coming on in with the first run of the game. The Red Sox go out in front here in the first inning. Well, Carl Yastrzemski picking up his third World Series RBI as Denny Doyle gets a glad hand as he heads back to the Red Sox dugout. And with 2 down and nobody on, the batter will be catcher Carlton Fisk.
That's a little different bench than the beginning of the game yesterday. They were a little bit subdued, sitting back on their haunches a little.
Fisk with a home run 2 nights ago here. In fact, it's been a strange series in that respect. 6 home runs in the World Series so far, and all of them coming in one game on Tuesday night. There's Don Gullett's wife. High school sweetheart. All in one strike to Fisk. Red Sox with a run home, 2 down. Well, at first shaking Johnny Bench off. Now throws, check swing by Carlton Fisk, and it pays off for him. 2 balls and 1 strike. We mentioned George Maloney as a plate umpire. Satch Davidson of the National League at first. Art France of the American League at second. National League umpire Nick Colosi, the umpire at third base. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Along the left field foul line from the American League, Larry Barnett. Working the right field line is Dick Stello. Don Gullett, 2 balls and 2 strikes with Carlton Fisk. And that's all for Fisk as Gullett picks up his first strikeout, and the Red Sox are out in the first inning. A good beginning, however. 1 run on 1 hit. At the end of a half inning of play, Boston won, the Reds coming to bat. Jam-packed Riverfront Stadium as we go to the bottom of the first inning. The Red Sox have already put 1 on the board against left-hander Don Gullett. And now the Reds will go to bat and hit off the right-hander Reginald Leslie Cleveland, a 13-game winner during the 1975 season. Cleveland making his second appearance in this World Series and his first start. Tony, how about this guy?
Got a good slider, pretty good sinking fastball. Usually has good control, does not strike out a whole lot. But through August and September, Marty, they tell me that he was the most consistent Red Sox pitcher.
Pitched some awfully good games for the Red Sox down the stretch. Pete Rose, as always, leads it off for Cincinnati. Strike to him. Rose has had 4 hits and 15 times up.
He could have about 8 hits with the line drives he's hit in this series.
Count even to him at 1 ball and 1 strike. Rico Petrocelli over at third base, playing about even with the bag. Rose, of course, a switch hitter. Cleveland back, and the pitch is fouled off to the left. That'll be out of play.
Tony, the Red Sox players, and even the Cincinnati Reds that we're talking to, think Cleveland is really at the best when he has that high inside fastball going for himself.
He can move the hitters off the plate, come back with the breaking stuff. He can spot the ball pretty well, like Rick Wise when they each have their control. High and tight, low and away, moves the ball around.
Rose behind to him, and here's a base hit. This telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Commissioner of Baseball is prohibited. Major League Baseball has a right of approval of the announcers for this event.
Marty, you gave us a good Scotty report to start off yesterday's ball game when Morgan got on. You said Griffey's going to hit and run. What's going to happen today?
Well, I know Sparky said earlier tonight, Tony, that they're going to try and run at will and hopefully often against this guy, and that he has a slow move to the plate. Slow delivery to the plate, but I doubt whether Rose is going to be going here. Now Griffey attempts to put one down, but did not get it.
You know, you get talking to the players. I asked the Red Sox manager, Darrell Johnson, one player that surprised him a little bit in the series, and he said Ken Griffey. We knew he was good, but he said he's even better than I thought. He hits the ball harder. Of course, we knew he was fast, but he said the Reds have a great young player in the making here.
It's interesting you make that point, Kurt, because Sparky said earlier today the one thing that surprised him about Boston is that Dwight Evans is a much better right fielder than he had been told. Quickly, strike two. Not that he was not told that Evans was a good right fielder, but Sparky said it was almost incomprehensible to him that the guy could be as good as he is.
Rose was talking about the home run decoy he gave him. He said, how about a young kid doing that to me?
Rose over at first base. Cleveland goes that way.
He's quick to first base, Marty. As you said, he is a little bit long going to home plate, kicking that left knee. But he's quick to first.
Well, it looked like Griffey got around on it, and the third base umpire said he did.
That's Nick Pelosi down there who called Griffey out on the appeal play. George Maloney, of course, watching the ball, see where it is in the strike zone. Pelosi calls the play.
That'll bring up second baseman Joe Morgan. He has not hit well in this series. Has been up 14 times, has had 3 hits, has knocked in a couple of runs, but of course had the game-winning base hit here on Tuesday night in the 10th inning.
He says the best pitch Tiant threw him, he popped up to end the ball game last night. Right over the plate to him, and he popped it up.
Reggie Cleveland having struck out Ken Griffey. Off-speed pitches at the letters for a call strike. Checking the Boston defense for you around the infield, Yastrzemski, Doyle, Burleson, and Petrocelli. In the outfield, left, center, and right, Beniquez, Lynn, and Evans, with Carlton Fisk behind the plate. Strike is called.
I have a hunch Morgan likes to hit in these kinds of situations with a man on first base being held out. He's such a good pull hitter. He takes advantage of that hole between Doyle, the second baseman, and Yastrzemski.
0-2, the count on Joe Morgan, with Pete Rose at first, 1 down in the Reds' first inning. Evans will play it in right field. Here comes Rose to third. Look at that rifle on Evans' part, but cut off by Burleson, and, well, here come the Cincinnati Reds. Looked like he made a bad pitch to Morgan, Tony, a 2-strike pitch. He hung on a frozen rope. Sparky Anderson, we talked last night about where he likes to sit when his team is in the field. When his team is hitting, he likes to be right there by the man who knows the hitters well, and that's batting coach Ted Kluszewski.
Well, first and third, 1 out. You would think Morgan's in a steal situation, but with Perez in a slump that he is, if Joe should go down, he might put Johnny on to get to Tony, set up a double play. Let's see if Morgan plays it by the book or if he takes off.
Well, the crowd coming to life early here at Riverfront Stadium. The Reds have had back-to-back hits from Pete Rose and Joe Morgan. Cleveland throwing high to Carl Yastrzemski as Rose broke quickly off the bag at third base. Goes that way again. Reds hitters have found the Boston pitching somewhat tough at times in this series. Boston has out-hit them. Now to Bench. A good pitch out away from him. Johnny so far has been up 16 times with 4 hits. He's had a home run and has knocked in 3 runs. Another throw on to first and another high throw.
We don't know if Joe's going or not, but he's been getting a lot of decoys, knee fakes, head fakes, as if to go to see if he can get a good pitch for Bench.
There goes Morgan. Bench does not get it. Throw to second, cut off by the second baseman, Denny Doyle.
Here's Joe, no chance for Carlton Fisk, and Denny Doyle all the way was cutting it off. He was looking at that runner at third base, Pete Rose. He didn't want him to score. Johnny had a good pitch, high and in fastball to hit. Just gets rid of the ball, but when Morgan's got everything going for him, forget it.
It's 2 strikes on Johnny Bench. The Reds now have second and third occupied with nobody out. The Red Sox are leading by a score of 1-0. Rather, 1 out in the inning. The off-speed pitch is outside. Talked about the hitting comparison between the two teams. The Red Sox have out-hit the Reds 40-28 coming into tonight's game. He makes the catch, Rose's bag. He's coming to the plate, and he's going to be out of there.
Whoa.
Juan Beniquez catching the line drive to left off the bat of Bench. The Reds are out in the first inning.
We saw Beniquez yesterday down the left field line, shy away from the ball. Today makes not only a great catch, but look at the throw to get Pete Rose. Right on the money off the artificial surface where you get the true hop, and a good tag by Fest.
Beniquez, of course, is not as good as left as Rick Miller or Carl Yastrzemski, but on this play, a perfect strike. He charged the ball right there, and Fisk has the tag waiting for Pete Rose sliding in.
Big first inning play for Boston. That ends the inning. At the end of 1, it's the Red Sox 1, the Cincinnati Reds 0. Fred Lynn standing in for openers to begin the second as Gullett misses outside to him. Well, they say momentum is the name of the game in a short series, and Boston certainly has had more of it than the Reds have had so far. Should be a routine play for Pete Rose.
Let's take a look at the end of that play, the double play, Beniquez to Fisk. And watch Fisk get out of the way. Remember, he got his knee tore up very severely in a collision at home. He used to block the plate. Right now, he's just making the one-hand tag like Bench, trying to get out of the way.
Hey, I've been talking to both Bench and Fisk about each other. Fisk says, I do it my way. Bench does it his way.
Don Gullett came with some kind of heater right there to Rico Petrocelli, strike 1. And Petrocelli has been a hitting surprise in this series. He's had 7 hits and 15 times up. He and Rick Burleson are tied for the most hits.
Back 3 infielders of the Red Sox, Doyle, Burleson, and Petrocelli, are the only players on both teams who have hit safely in every game.
1-1 the count. "24-year-old Don Gullett. This guy has been money in the bank for the Cincinnati Reds. He has his second strikeout.
He is throwing hard now, Marty and Kurt. Harder than he did in that first inning.
Oh, yes. This is the Gullett that Tony and I have seen on the Game of the Week times, and that Marty Brennaman has seen a lot during the year. He has more velocity tonight than he had last Saturday in Boston.
Well, Kurt, as you mentioned earlier, had he not been out for the 2 months with a broken thumb, the people here in Cincinnati, certainly Sparky Anderson, felt like he would have been a lead pipe cinch to win 25 games. Here's Dwight Evans, a right fielder. A ball is high.
All you've got to do is look at the expressions or the way the hitters check their swing to see how hard a guy is throwing.
Boston leading 1-0. Broken bat. That's George Foster. That's a second out. Lutz retires aside as Lynn pops to third. Petrocelli strike out, and Evans a fly ball to left at the end of an inning and a half. The Red Sox 1, Reds 0. Reds will be batting in the bottom of the second, and, well, I'll buy that. Tony Perez, he's hitless in the World Series. Up 14 times as Cleveland delivers, and he fouls it off.
But he still has that great smile on his face around the batting cage. He's one of the classiest men I've ever met in the big leagues.
He's an amazing man, Kurt. I heard a writer earlier tonight say he's one of the few guys who have had the kind of series he's had, and you can talk to him, and he'll talk to you openly about it.
He's had up and down World Series. In 70, he had only 1 hit in 18 times. Pardon me. In 72, he came back to hit .435. Now he's struggling in the 75 series.
Cleveland getting out of a first-inning jam on a big play by Juan Beniquez in left field, and he's now a ball and 2 strikes on Tony Perez. Fine year for this man during the season. He got hot after the All-Star game, finished up with 20 homers, 109 runs batted in. And he has struck out. That's number 2 for Cleveland. But Tony Perez continues to have his problems. Here's a Cincinnati left fielder, George Foster. Foster up 15 times with 5 hits. Native Californian. 8 game-winning RBIs in 1975.
He's the strongest guy in this club.
I would say without question he is, Tony. When he hits one, he really puts a charge into the baseball and probably hits it farther than anybody on this club. Ball 1. Davey Concepcion will be up next. Boston with a first inning run. We're in the bottom of the second.
Stan Williams, the pitching coach of the Red Sox, talks a lot about Reggie Cleveland, saying he's a man who knows how to pitch. He knows how to set up hitters. He has an idea of what he wants to do. There's Stan sitting next to Johnny Pesky. But he's high and tight, and then he's low away with a slider or curveball. He moves you off the plate.
Al Foster going into his stalling tactic, something that we witnessed all season long. He's in, he's out. When the pitcher thinks he's ready, he'll step out in the middle of his windup.
You ever say why he does all that? Loses concentration, or? Some guys don't like standing there. Yogi was one, Marty and Kurt, that I remember. He had to be moving all the time with a bat. Foster gets there like a statue, gets a little tense, and you can't pull the trigger as quickly.
Got to be talking all the time, too.
Cleveland pops him up, and Fisk may have a play on it. 2 down.
Cute story on this man last night, Tony and I found out. Concepcion came to the plate, Tian on the mound, both speak Spanish, and he yelled out, "Hey, you ball-headed old man, how about giving me a fastball?" Tian says, "You get one." And he threw him a fastball in the next pitch, and he fouled it back.
2 out, the base is empty. There's Burleson. There's Yastrzemski, and the side retired. So the Reds are out in order at the end of 2 complete innings of play in Game 5. The Red Sox won, the Reds nothing. Number 8 batter in the Red Sox lineup, Rick Burleson, their shortstop, will begin the 3rd inning.
This is a man that has impressed Cincinnati. Pete Rose said that fella knows how to play baseball.
Well, I think the biggest compliment you can pay a guy in any game, Kurt, is to call him a winner, and I think everybody on the Reds club feels this way about Burleson.
In fact, Pete said, I don't know who taught him, but somebody taught that Burleson and Evans how to play and play the game right.
That's 7 hits. Gullett gets a strike in off the 1-0 pitch. Don Gullett, an amazing record at Riverfront Stadium this season. 10 wins and only 1 loss during the regular season, plus a win against Pittsburgh in the playoffs. Jam job, and it's fouled back over the netting. Pitcher Reggie Cleveland on deck. Red Sox getting to Gullett for a run in the 1st inning on a 1-out triple by Doyle and a sacrifice fly by Carl Yastrzemski. Red Sox, Burleson popping it up. They converge. And Morgan in a crowd.
Look at Pete. Pete even hustled back with nobody covering from his 3rd base spot to get the bag just in case the ball was dropped or there was a collision. Here they all come. Finally, Morgan waves them off, and look at Pete Rose go.
So Don Gullett appears to be picking up a head of steam since that triple by Doyle. He's retired 6 batters in a row and working now to Reggie Cleveland. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network. Cleveland down a strike, has not batted in 2 seasons. He's down at 0-2.
He was a good hitter when he hit in the National League for a pitcher.
211 lifetime batting average. At 239 and 230 in his last 2 National League seasons in 72 and 73.
He is smoking now. Since he got hurt by that forkball that Doyle drilled in the right field corner for a triple, setting up the run, he's gone almost all fastballs.
He's had 3 strikeouts. Go back to the top of the Red Sox batting order for Juan Benitez. Last night, making his first World Series start, had a hit in 4 times up. Benitez starting out his professional career as an infielder. Started in left field last night with Carl Yastrzemski moving into first base against the left-hander Fred Norman, and Darrell Johnson going for the same alignment tonight. Count even, a ball and a strike. Well, you got a good three-shot of Gullett, Beniquez, and both. He loops one, and Morgan on the run has got it. Red Sox are out 1-2-3 in their half of the third inning. And at the end of 2.5, 1-0 Boston.
Tony, this is what they used to say in your dugout about sawing the bat handle off.
He really got him on the fist. Look at the expression on Beniquez's face. And certain pitchers, overpowering pitchers, throw heavy balls. And I believe, talking to some of the hitters around the league, that's what Gullett throws. It feels like you're hitting a lead weight, even if you hit it on the good part of the bat at times.
Here's Cesar Geronimo beginning the Cincinnati third, and I'll tell you, this guy has had some kind of fine 2 games at Cincinnati's Riverfront Stadium. 2 hits night before last, a 3-hit evening last night. Freddie Lynn tracking it. 1 out.
Ray Shore, your super scout that you mentioned in the opening, was talking a lot about Fred Lynn before the ball game, about how graceful he is and how very often before the ball is hit, he's got 2 or 3 steps in the direction the ball is going to be hit. It's an excellent jump.
Now Don Gullett with 1 out. Talk about pretty good hitting pitchers. Gullett would certainly fall into that category. 238 last year, 226 this season. Strike to him from Cleveland. Opening game of the playoffs against Pittsburgh, hit a home run, the first ever in his professional career with a man on. Reds have had 2 hits off Cleveland. The Red Sox 1 hit off Gullett. And it has been a game pretty much of strikeouts so far. Gullett has fanned 3 in 3 innings, and Cleveland right now working on his third. Down 0-2 to Don Gullett, and that's his 3rd strikeout.
You know, he's got a good fastball himself tonight, but he looks slow compared to the way Gullett's throwing. Yet Cleveland has been excellent.
That's right, Kurt. It gives you a pretty good idea of how hard Don Gullett can throw. Pete Rose has had 1 of the 2 Cincinnati hits. Got an idea of how strongly Rose finished.
Marty, it doesn't look like he's using that bat that he brought out here earlier. Maybe you can tell our fans destroying that bat he had.
Well, he had a bat that was made of solid oak that he got from a teacher of one of his children, and let Bill Plummer use it during batting practice. He hit some real shots, and Rose kind of liked it. Said he might use it in the game tonight, but so far apparently has not. What, Tony, 40 ounces?
He said he wanted to see how hard Cleveland's throwing first. If he's throwing too hard, he said, I can't get it around.
Said it is impossible to break it. Now Cleveland a pitch away from putting Rose on with what would be the first walk of the game. Reggie Cleveland coming over to the Red Sox from the St. Louis Cardinals a couple of seasons ago. There's a called strike. He joined the Red Sox along with Diego Segui and fielder Terry Hughes, and the Cardinals got pitchers John Curtis, Lynn McLaughlin, and Mike Garman, and as things turned out, a pretty good trade for both clubs. Rose is on.
Marty, that was one of those trades as we watched old Charlie Hustle go to it again down first base. One of those trades that took a year to develop and be successful, as Cleveland had some knee problems. Wise had an arm problem. But Dick O'Connell is seeing the fruits of it in this World Series.
Kenny Griffey, one of the 3 strikeouts that Cleveland has chalked up. Reggie got him swinging in the first inning. Boston 1, the Cincinnati Reds 0 as we play baseball in the home third in Game 5 of the 1975 World Series. Nice play by Denny Doyle. Well, he timed the jump just right to pick it off. Doyle with a fine defensive play as he heads back on toward the dugout. At the end of 3, Boston leading the Cincinnati Reds 1-0.
Here's the tail end of that looping line drive. Cleveland jammed Griffey with it. Doyle timing the play perfectly. And it seems like so far in this series, the Red Sox have been coming up with the plays when they need them. Here again with Rose on first base, they might have had something going first and third.
Top of the fourth inning, and Denny Doyle, who's had the only hit off of Don Gullett, the triple, he scored the run, and Gullett backing him off the plate. Some kind of World Series for this guy. Ball 2.
Some kind of a season since June. Week after week, month after month for him.
Longest hitting streak in the American
Right.
League. 22 games straight he hit in. A little bit early. What's the sign say?
Go Reds, light up something for Christmas.
Light up
for Christmas. That's all.
2-1 the count on Doyle. Gullett slides one over on the inside.
He's got the right outfit on tonight. It's 150 degrees here.
On deck for the Red Sox, Carl Yastrzemski.
He's got to feel awfully silly, though, doesn't he?
Chopper. Easy play for Johnny Bench. One away.
The Doyle, anyway, Gunn has gone more to the breaking ball. He threw him 3 of 4 pitches were breaking balls. Here's the play, and Johnny Bench and his reaction from behind home plate. Gunn, an excellent fielder, but he gives ground to Bench, who gets into the fair territory, not to hit the runner.
That was an easy play for Bench, but he's made 2 beauties on balls topped out in front of the plate.
He sure has, Kurt. Here's Carl Yastrzemski, had a fly ball to knock in a run in the first. There you go again, Tony, the off-speed pitches. RBI for Yastrzemski is 3rd in this series. That one hit well. There's Geronimo.
There he had a chance to see Cesar in action. We've talked so much about Freddie Lynn and the graceful manner in which he goes after a ball. Take a look at Cesar Geronimo. He is considered by many the best in the National League, and Sparky Anderson, obviously, the best in baseball.
Sparky Anderson says Lynn's a great young player, but he can't compare to my man, Geronimo. I think he's the best there is. The range, the arm, the jump on the ball.
Guy started out in the New York Yankee organization as a pitcher. Converted him to the outfield, was at Houston. Of course, came to the Reds in that big deal in '71. Carlton Fisk, the 2-out hitter. Gullett got him looking in the first inning. He also finished the season strong. Also has hit very well in postseason play. 2 balls and no strikes.
Marty, a lot of the clubs in the National League, the Dodgers for one, use that radar gun during the season to time their pitchers. Has that gun ever been put on Gullett?
Not to my knowledge, Tony. I don't think it has. They put it on Louis Tiant here last night and clocked his off-speed stuff at 52 miles an hour and his fastball at 83 miles an hour. Be interesting to see how they clock Gullett.
Gullett has thrown some today that look like they're 100 plus.
2 balls and 2 strikes, and there was a good heater again. Tell you, he's locating much better tonight than he did Saturday at Fenway. He's just getting a piece of the ball.
Saturday at Fenway, he did what so many left-handers do in that ballpark, try and keep the ball away from right-handed hitters too much, and they miss outside and get in trouble.
Strikes out Fisk for the second time. He has 4, and he set him down in order for the 3rd straight time. In the middle of the 4th inning, Boston 1, Cincinnati nothing. Now you see the Cincinnati Reds mascot. He's known as Mr. Red, and pretty much of an every-day, every-night figure around Riverfront Stadium when the Reds are playing here during the season. Quite a load he's carrying on the top of his shoulders. Meet of the batting order for the Cincinnati Reds. Joe Morgan to start it off. Had a base hit in the first inning when the Reds threatened, but could not get on the board and trail 1-0 here.
I got to kick some writer ass. Morgan, you get on base a lot, don't you? So that's what I'm paid to do.
Sounding ball foul.
Then he added, that's what separates me from the average ball player.
Well, I'll tell you, Kurt, nobody will ever accuse Joe Morgan of not having a lot of confidence in his own ability.
Well, he was honest about it. I mean, he wasn't bragging. He just stating a fact.
Some pretty good credentials to back it up. Oh, good pitch by Cleveland.
One of the first straight changeups he's thrown looked almost like a screwball as we look at Bench on deck.
2 strikes on Joe Morgan. Once again, you get an idea as we look at the Boston Red Sox outfield of how much room they give Joe Morgan along the left field foul line and also in left center field. Look at the tremendous amount of area along the left field line and also in the power alley in left center. Check the swing.
Cleveland's unhappy with that call.
He came 5-6 feet down off the mound to get on the home plate umpire George Maloney. He thought the ball caught the outside corner. Tiant got on the umpires, did Fisk in last night's ball game.
Morgan walking 132 times during the season to set a club record. Cleveland throwing 2-2. Joe appeared to be a little bit upset with himself on that pitch.
A tribute to Morgan's strength for his size, how deep Fred Lynn is playing him, because Lynn plays usually a fairly shallow center field, but he's way back there, and so is Evans. You know, this little guy can hit a ball a long way.
17 home runs in the year. Towering fly ball that Evans should have no trouble with, and that will be out number 1. Johnny Bench, a man who hit that line drive to left in the first inning with runners at first and third, and Juan Beniquez making the catch and throwing a strike to Carlton Fisk to get the double play that ended the inning. Hit by a number of different injuries during the season. It'll find its way back into the stands along the right side.
Marty, they tell me that the 2 men at the plate right now, Bench and Fisk, of course, playing defensively, studied those scouting reports, committed them to memory more than anybody else. And they're the guys back there who are the generals. They move the outfielders and infielders around.
Petrocelli. I'll tell you, if there's been one consistent thing in this series, it's been the fact that the Reds have hit the ball at times very hard, but right at people. Here's Petrocelli now on the line drive by Bench. One quick step to his right. He leaves the artificial surface, and he's got it.
And that's what the scouting reports will do, the advanced reports. They position you correctly so you can catch those hard hit balls. That is, if your pitcher does his job.
Well, there's a blast in the deep left center field, and it's tied up.
Boy, he's happy. He clapped his hands as he rounded first base. He finally broke out of it.
0 for 15, and Tony Perez makes his first 1975 World Series hit, a big one with a game-tying 4th-inning home run. Reds dugout a little bit happy, you might say, and Joe Morgan there all smiles. Sparky Anderson, they love to see this guy hit. George Foster waiting for things to quiet down a bit. The Reds have now reached Cleveland for 3 hits, and that home run tied it up at a run apiece. Not only was Perez 0 for 15 before the home run, he was 0 for 19, including his last playoff game, and that is first lifetime World Series homer. There's Tony Perez. Now Foster. A ball. Foster popped to Fisk his first time up. Now a pop that Yastrzemski will handle. That's all for the Reds in inning number 4. They get the tying run on Perez's home run. And as we go to the 5th inning, the Reds won, the Red Sox won. Preceding announcement was furnished as a public service by Major League Baseball. Well, we've had 3 barn burners as you take a look at Tony Perez, the guy who had his first lifetime World Series home run to tie this game up. Freddie Lynn leading off the 5th for Boston and swings and misses. 3 straight 1-run games and a 1-1 tie here. 1 ball and 1 strike to Lynn.
Lynn feels he's in a slump. He hasn't hit the ball well. He's got a hit here and there, but he says he's pulling off the ball, striding toward first base. and that's what it makes him do, go after bad pitches. That's a fastball you've got to lay off when you're facing Don Gullett. It's an impossible thing to do sometimes. It moves so much. That one high in the strike zone really has velocity and movement.
Don Gullett really bringing it tonight. His 5th strikeout.
And with the exceptional stuff he's had, he hasn't walked a batter, which makes him even rougher. He is now retired 10, 11, 12 in a row.
During the year, he averaged, as far as strikeouts are concerned, about 5.5 per 9 innings. Averaged slightly over 3 walks per 9 innings. Facing Petrocelli, ball 1. Two balls and no strikes. Petrocelli was struck out in the 2nd.
Excuse me, Marty. As I recall, Gullett didn't have much minor league experience, did he?
Played only 11 games, Tony, and that was in the lower minor leagues. He got to the big leagues in a hurry. Two balls and 1 strike. On deck for the Red Sox, right fielder Dwight Evans. Red Sox getting a run in the 1st. The Reds for the homer by Perez in the last inning. As Griffey and Geronimo converge on the ball, they more often than not let that man play it.
At this point, Don Gullett just about has the Red Sox hitters overmatched the way he's throwing the ball. His fastball is really darting around. We're going to try and get some shots from you, maybe in slow motion from this angle, to see if we can see the movement on the ball as it comes to the plate.
Boston hitter is Dwight Evans. He flied to left field his first time up in the 2nd. He sends one into left center field. Now Geronimo will do his thing as he slows to a trot. And that is now 4 consecutive innings that Gullett has set him down in order after 4 1/2, a 1-1 ball game. Well, we've had 4 1/2 innings of bang-bang baseball in the 5th game of the '75 World Series. Reggie Cleveland, Don Gullett, a 1-1 tie. And here to carry you the rest of the way in game number 5, Curt Gowdy.
Our ears are being bothered by that pop of Gullett's fastball into Johnny Bench's mitt. You just don't see a fellow throw as hard as he is tonight. But he's being matched by quite a pitcher here, Reggie Cleveland. So we're going now to the last of the 5th inning. 1 run, 1 hit for the Red Sox. 1 run, 3 hits for Cincinnati. Concepcion, Geronimo, and Gullett, the bottom third of the Red batting order. We've had only 1 walk in the game. Cleveland walked Rose in the 3rd. That one is fouled over in back of the Red dugout, out of play. Sparky Anderson says, I'd like to win tonight. I'd hate to go to Boston behind because we would not be able to make a mistake at Fenway Park. He and Big Clue talking there. And, of course, he's got his ace going tonight, Gullett. That's a strike, 0-2 to Dave Concepcion. He grounded out his first time. On deck, Geronimo. A 1 through 8 batting order that is almost relentless. Just don't have a let-up in it. Concepcion leading off, last of the 5th inning. Hard ground ball to Petrocelli. Up with it, the throw in time. He has probably never played a better third base than he's playing in this World Series.
That gets to be a little tricky. You mentioned it earlier, Marty, that little seam, and when the ball comes off the artificial surface, it was right on the edge of the seam in the grass. Can be a little bit of a problem, but Petrocelli wisely got in front of the ball, kept it in front of him like a catcher would. Throw out Concepcion.
Cesar Geronimo. 3 hits last night. A homer and a single the night before. Flying out in his first time tonight. Game tied, 1-1, last of the 5th inning. Cleveland giving him kind of a slow breaking pitch for ball one.
Kurt, in the fourth inning, they started swinging a little bit better at Cleveland. He got a few pitches up. Morgan just missed the ball. He popped up to right field. The last one was hit sharply.
Cleveland's down low now to Geronimo, that low breaking stuff. A ball and a strike. Don Gullett, the pitcher of the Reds, will be up next. Bill Lee will pitch Saturday in Boston. Jack Billingham for the Reds. That one's hit off the handle to Denny Doyle. The throw. Oh, that Geronimo went down that line and nearly beat that one out. 2 down. Gullett getting a hand. He gave up a run in the first inning on Doyle's triple and Yastrzemski sacrificed fly, and since then he's been untouchable. That extra day's rest probably has helped him too. He could have come back last night, but they wanted to try Norman here and then pitch Gullett tonight.
You know, a lot of people are really questioning Sparky Anderson about his rotation, Kurt, and that with Gullett pitching tonight, of course, eliminates him from pitching a possible 7th game.
He'll be out in the bullpen if they go in the 7th game.
Absolutely.
Sparky said tonight he didn't know who he'd pitch. He said, I may pitch my entire staff if I have to. Tiant, if they go 7 games, will start for Boston. And Gullett has a base hit up the middle. The Reds have 4 hits, the Red Sox 1 hit. Gullett showing you what kind of an athlete he is. Here's Pete Rose. He's been on twice. He's singled and walked. Rose is, he's always talking to somebody, the umpires, the opposition. Somebody asked Sparky Anderson, do you resent that? He always seems to have his nose in something. Said, no, he's like me, he's nervous. Said he can't sit still in the hotel lobby. He's got to get up and move around. 2 down, Gullett to first. Game tied, 1-all, last of the 5th. Rose trying to hit that hanging curveball.
Got off the elevator yesterday after the ball game on the ground floor level, and all of a sudden the riders got off, and some kid came sliding right into the elevator door. Guess who it was, Marty?
Pete Rose Jr.
That's your life.
Googie. It's his nickname.
You got more pep than the old man?
He sure does.
1 strike. There's a drive. That's a tough chance. It's a fair, and it is a fair ball in the corner. Gullett is being waved on, and he's in the score. Rose holds it second. Rose doubled to the left field corner.
Carlson really mad down at the third base back. He kicked that dirt after the overthrow of the cutoff man. There goes Benitez into the corner. The ball sliced away from him. He got the ball pretty quickly, but then he made his mistake when he overthrew it. With Gullett's speed, I don't think they'd have gotten him anyway. Carlson very upset. One of the few fundamental mistakes that Red Sox have made so far in this series. Overthrowing a cutoff man.
Oh, Rose has had a perfect night with a single, a walk, a double to the left field corner. He has an RBI, and the Reds have the lead 2-1. Ken Griffey has struck out and lined out. Rose at second. All this came after 2 out, nobody on. A ball to Ken Griffey. Joe Morgan scheduled up next. We're going to get some action in the Red Sox bullpen. He pops it up. And an inside-out swing. Petroselli in foul ground, puts it away. The Reds had a run. They had 2 hits. They left 1 at the end of 5. Cincinnati 2 and Boston 1.
He doesn't get on him. I don't know.
That's Jim Willoughby, a right-hander, and Roger Moret, a left-hander, warming up in the Red Sox bullpen. We're down to the tail end of the Red Sox batting order. Rick Burleson is leading off. Reggie Cleveland scheduled up behind him. Don Gullett. High with that fastball. He's allowed only one hit, a triple by Doyle in the first. With one out, then Doyle scored on Yastrzemski's sacrifice fly. And no other Boston runners reached base. Fly ball right out to Griffey, almost in his tracks, one down. He is now retired 14 in a row. Reggie Cleveland coming out. He struck out his first time.
He's hardly showing the right-handed hitters any breaking pitches at all. The left-handers, Yastrzemski and Doyle, he's throwing some breaking balls to, but he's gone to his heater, the right-handed hitters.
He's high to Cleveland for a ball, 1-0. No walks. He had this remarkable talent and don't walk anyone. It'll be very tough to beat tonight. Two balls and no strikes. That's Benikas on deck. There's a strike, 2-1. Gullett working on a one-hitter. Now he's in danger of walking his first batter. 3-1 to the opposing pitcher.
He's had a couple of easy innings thrown in there, too, so he could be strong if he goes to the 7th, 8th, and 9th.
A 3-1 delivery. He pours it over for a strike. 3-2 to Reggie Cleveland. One away, nobody on. Cincinnati ahead of Boston 2-1 in the 6th. Strikeout number 6.
Let's look at it from our center field camera in slow motion. You can see the effort behind Gullett's pitch. He throws a little across his body, and Reggie Cleveland just plain overmatched as the ball is almost in Bench's glove. That one tailed away from Cleveland. Some have been darting in, some have been taking off. A live arm.
6 strikeouts, no walks, 1 hit. Benikas the batter. Top of the Red Sox order. That ball popping into Johnny Bench's mitt. A little bit outside. 1-0 to Juan Benikas. Denny Doyle on deck. Benikas is shaded to the opposite field. They played him straight away last night, but the stuff that Gullett has tonight, they're playing the batters, especially the right-handers, to swing late. 2 balls and no strikes.
He's got the kind of fastball today that some catchers will put an extra sponge in their glove for.
Now he's behind 3-0.
Here's Don Gullett's motion, and as Tony said, oftentimes a catcher will put that extra bit of sponge in his glove, and Johnny Bench will do that on occasion when Don Gullett is on the mound.
Now Gullett comes right back in with a fastball for a strike. 3-1, 2 down, nobody on. Cincinnati ahead 2-1. There is the first base runner for the Red Sox since the first inning, and the first walk issued by Gullett. Benikas on, 2 down, and Denny Doyle has the only hit for Boston tonight, a triple to right field in the first. And he has scored the lone Boston run. Benikas has good speed.
Gullett, a tough man to steal off. He doesn't have a good move to first, but he's very quick to home plate. They tried off in the first game in Boston, and Bench gunned the runner out at second. He's short, compact, gets the ball to home plate in a hurry.
I think that's an understatement.
I mean, before he releases the ball, he's got good quick motion to home.
0-1 to Denny Doyle. Benikas attempted 17 steals this last year, successful 7 times. There's a ground ball to Perez at first. Doyle is out, and so are the Red Sox. No runs, no hits, 1 left. Go to the last of the 6th inning.
NBC Sports, #1 in live coverage of major sports events all year round.
Joe Morgan leads off for the Reds in the last of the 6th inning, followed by Johnny Bench and Tony Perez. And Moret and Willoughby are still warming up in the Red Sox bullpen. Gullett threw only 54 pitches in the first 6 innings. He's young and he should be fresh and strong. Curveball is outside to Joe Morgan.
Joe's built up that reputation, and some say he gets a lot of close pitches. The pitchers will tell you that. Joe looking back at Carlton Fisk saying, "What are you talking about? Ball's quarter of an inch outside."
The 1-0 pitch. 2-0. Well, as Pee Wee Reese used to say, eyes like an eagle. Louis Tiant, 116 pitches last night through 6 innings. Tiant wound up throwing over 160 pitches last night. Now it's ball 3 by Cleveland to Morgan. There's El Premier. El Tiante taking it easy tonight. The 3-0 delivery. 3-1. Reds out hit the Red Sox 5-1 tonight. 2 runs, 5 hits for Cincinnati. 1 run, 1 hit for the Red Sox. Slashes it foul down the first base line.
Marty, I get the feeling that when Joe Morgan was down in Houston, he had no idea at that time how great a player he might be.
No question about that, Tony. In fact, Joe had the reputation of being a very moody, introverted type of player, and he came to Cincinnati, and this winning tradition seemed to bring him out.
That pitch just missed inside. Morgan turned around and yelled something at home plate.
Something to Carlton Fisk. Carlton Fisk might have been badgering home plate umpire George Maloney. And after, look at Cleveland, he is steamed. He thought he missed 2 pitches. Let's look at it. We've got a different angle, of course. We're not directly behind the pitcher. A little bit off. Well, Morgan has a close look. Fisk holds it right there. May have brought it up a little bit. They thought he had it, but now Morgan going to battle Cleveland.
You can bet he's going to be going sometime, Kurt and Tony.
All right, he's on first. Nobody out. The Reds are leading 2-1. Bench lined into a double play to left field in the first. Lined out to third in the fourth. Oh, he's ripped the ball twice tonight, right at somebody. They get Morgan back.
Cleveland quick to first, but slow going home.
Morgan likes that. There's a throwback. Likes to get that front foot on the artificial surface. And the back foot's on the dirt. Again, they drive him back. He says he can't accelerate as quickly as Lou Brock. Brock can take off faster than he can. Oh, closer play.
He didn't dive back that time. Contrasting styles of base stealing by Brock and Morgan. Brock does not get as big a lead as Joe Morgan does. He likes to be leading in the direction. Keeps some momentum going towards second base.
Morgan on first, nobody out. Again, they drive him back.
Watch him kick that left foot. He digs it in pretty well. Now he scampers back, and you can see that crossover step right over left going back to the bag. He'll do the opposite going to second.
He stole a base in the first inning.
He's getting back without diving, which is a pretty good sign for
Right.
Joe. He still probably doesn't have the maximum lead he feels he can get. So he's read Cleveland pretty well.
Now he and Cleveland continue to play the game.
Kurt, this is a good idea of another one of the attributes that makes him so valuable to the Reds. He can really disrupt the pitcher's concentration with this type of thing.
Bench finally gets a chance to get into the act. 0-1 to Johnny Bench. He's getting a little tired watching Cleveland and Morgan go at it. How about me? Reds are leading 2-1. They're batting in the last of the 6th inning. Really working on Morgan. Again.
Whoa.
Really threw it away.
Cleveland's got the short, quick move. Yastrzemski with a nice play right there. Morgan diving back that time.
Somebody's going to be worn out when this is all over, either Cleveland or Morgan. He's made about 7 or 8 moves to first base. The count is 1 strike, the bench. Again.
Think about me and forget about him. That's what Morgan's saying. Keep me on your mind. You're going to forget John at the plate.
Now the fans booing Reggie Cleveland for his continued moves to first. We still have a 1 strike count to the forgotten Johnny Bench. There goes Morgan. And the pitch is fouled back. Morgan had the jump. Bench fouls it back. And it's an 0-2 count to Johnny Bench.
You got to look here of Joe Morgan's jump, and he got a pretty good one there on Reggie Cleveland and coming to the plate, but Bench fouls it off. And Joe Morgan with a pretty good philosophy, Tony. He says in situations like this, he'll give the batter no matter who it will be, and normally it's either Johnny Bench or Tony Perez. He'll give him a strike, but after that, he's going to be going sometime.
All right, a 2 strike count to Bench. The Reds are ahead 2-1, last of the 6th.
You wonder now, with 2 strikes on Bench in the hole as he is, 0-2, if Morgan will go and disrupt Bench's concentration. I don't know if it bothers Johnny or not.
We'll soon find out. Cleveland's throwing an entire ball game here in this one situation again. That's about the closest they've come to getting him. Now Morgan asks for time. He wants to get himself gathered.
Some of the National League first basemen, Bob Watson from Houston, Ron Fairley from St. Louis, tried something new, getting off the bag in the direction of Morgan. 3 or 4 feet sometimes. They'd follow him up the line. I want to ask Marty, did that have any success against Joe?
No, it didn't, Tony.
And we still have a 2 strike count. Morgan at first, nobody out. Yastrzemski. Something's going to happen over there sometime. He's either going to steal a base or they're going to drop a ball or throw it away. Watch Yastrzemski here. Reaching out. He had to come off the bag, got his feet tangled. 2 strikes. Now the pitch to the plate. Nearly a wild pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Johnny Bench. The Red Sox scored in the 1st. The Reds came back with a single in the 4th and a home run by Perez in the 5th. They're leading 2-1. Bench drills it into right field. Looks like Doyle got crossed up. Here comes Morgan the 3rd. High throw. Bounds away. Carlton Fisk stayed at home plate, and Reggie Cleveland went over there and picked up the ricochet.
Kurt Marty, Denny Doyle, even though Morgan wasn't going, was breaking towards second base. He took about 2 steps over in the direction of second, and the double play probably would have been in order had he stayed in his position. Let's watch Morgan. Doyle has already left his straightaway position. You could see him drop his arms in disgust, knowing he left too soon, and for what reason I don't know. Morgan now has to hustle off the arm of Dwight Evans. And out comes Darrell Johnson to talk to Cleveland. Another fundamental mistake, Kurt, excuse me, overthrowing a cutoff man, allowing Betts to go to second. Something the Red Sox haven't done much of this series.
That's right. That's the ricochet helped them, too, right back to Reggie Cleveland off the screen in front of the Red Sox dugout. Now manager Darrell Johnson out talking to Cleveland. And the Reds right now, the way Gullett is pitching, are sitting in beautiful shape. They have runners on 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. And Johnson stays with Cleveland. There's Moret and Willoughby in the bullpen.
And we had a great chance to see on that last play what Morgan does to a defense, a pitcher, a catcher. He had Doyle, even though he wasn't stealing, going cover second base.
All right, the infield has to come in now. Nobody out. Morgan at 3rd. Bench at 2nd. Infield in, outfield deep. A ball to Perez, who came out of it with a home run to left center in the fourth. Cleveland looks over to Morgan at third. That pitch is a high foul over toward the Reds dugout. Fisk can't get it. It drops into about the fourth or fifth row.
And with the catcher down at second base in Johnny Bench, they're going to have to do some switching of these signs, or he's going to relay something to Tony Perez. I'd have to believe that if Tony Perez knew what was coming, he could be dynamite up at the plate.
I'd have to agree with you. 1 ball, 1 strike to Tony. Morgan's at third, Bench is at second, nobody out. Last of the 6th inning. The Reds are stirring. Look at Bench looking in, see if he can grab a sign. That's fouled away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Just about every game, the Red Sox have out-hit the Reds, but tonight it's different. 6 hits for the Reds tonight to 1 for the Red Sox. Morgan at third, Bench at second. Nobody out. High foul. Fisk may have a play on this one.
Oh!
Ooh, he goes into the camera, into the dugout. The wind is blowing in, and the wind blew the ball back.
You'll recall the super catch he made in the stands back in one of the earlier games. He just never gives up on the ball. He tore somebody's Nikon lens apart right there.
I think he's looking for his mask.
I think he might have gone back over to see if he hurt anybody. Talk about the kind of gentleman he is. He left his mask back at home plate. And have to see if everybody's all right.
I was kidding about his mask. One ball, 2 strikes. Runners on second and third. Nobody out. Tony Perez. With that infield drawn in against him. He hits a blast in the deep left center. That's gone. Way back.
Congratulating little Joe. He had a little bit to do with that, of course, and to show the respect that Cleveland had. With Morgan on third, he was pitching from the stretch to Perez. And most pitchers can't throw as hard or as effectively from the stretch as they can from the full windup.
What a way to come out of a slump, the way Perez tonight. 2 homers, 4 runs batted in. They have a break in the action here at Cincinnati. The score now, Cincinnati 5 and Boston 1. All right, we have a new pitcher. Jim Willoughby's on. He was good in relief the other night, but he comes in behind here 5-1. The last player to hit 2 homers in a series game was Gene Tennis back in 1972, and he hit consecutive home runs the way Perez has hit them tonight. The last National League player to hit 2 home runs in a game was Charlie Neal of the Dodgers in 1959. Babe Ruth, twice, the only player ever to hit 3 homers in a series game.
Say, I wish they'd give those people up above us and all around us a microphone. They're getting on us pretty good, Kurt. Not Marty, of course, but A lot of the fans, when they heard the first two games up in Boston, felt that we were a little bit partial to the Boston Red Sox because Kurt is a former Boston Red Sox announcer. I'm a former American leaguer, and Dick Stockton doing the game is the present-day Red Sox announcer. But we got a stack of telegrams today from the Boston fans, I understand, saying we were partial to the Reds the last couple of days, which is interesting.
6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Never will forget doing a Rose Bowl game one year, USC Ohio State. I still have to mail about 1,000 letters. 500 and some accused me of being prejudiced for Ohio State, and the other 500 being prejudiced for USC. Same game, same words, same lines. George Foster is fouled out and popped up. Well, the Reds have opened up here in the 4th, 5th, and 6th. They lead now 5-1. 1 ball, 1 strike to Foster. Jim Willoughby, sinker ball pitcher. And his delivery is 2-1. Roger Moret continues to warm up. Anytime the big man Perez breaks out, that makes the Reds even more dynamite.
Well, the change in the batting order for Cincinnati has reaped dividends tonight, Kurt.
A 2-1 delivery. There's Tony's wife. That's the happiest wife in America right now. That's foul too, Mrs. Perez. What a beautiful smile. 3 balls, 1 strike. Nobody on, nobody out. 3 runs in. Line shot to the box. 1 out. Concepcion has grounded out twice.
Since the 4th inning on, the Reds have really been swinging the bats no matter who's on the mound. They've been hitting some shots.
They look, to me tonight, as determined. Any game in a series, they're really bearing down. And, of course, receiving a great pitching performance so far doesn't hurt him. From Don Gullett. 1 out, nobody on. Concepcion. Low inside to him for a ball. Last of the 6th inning. 5 runs. 7 hits for the Reds. 1 run, 1 hit for the Red Sox. Outside, 2-0 to Dave Concepcion. Game 6 will start at 12:30 Eastern Time Saturday. The baseball world with Joe Garagiola. And then Bill Lee against Jack Billingham. 3 balls, no strikes to Concepcion. Gets that pitch over. We're going to pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network. Back here in Riverfront Stadium, Cincinnati. 3-2 count now to Dave Concepcion with 1 out, nobody on. He bounds a foul over by the Red Sox dugout and in. Morgan started with a walk. Bench single. Perez homered. Foster's lined out. And Concepcion the batter.
Out.
He's hit by a pitch ball.
He got hit on the right hand.
That ball rode right in on him. Sparky Anderson very concerned.
Willoughby's ball really tails in the right-handed hitters. You see David really aggressively going after the ball. He has no chance. Looked like it might have nicked his shirt first and then picked him off on the hand.
That's the kind of pitch that Jim Rice received a broken hand just before the end of the season and put him out of the playoffs in the World Series.
Larry Starr, along with Sparky Anderson, Starr the trainer. That one thrown right at a batter's head. Most of the time he gets out of the way, but if it's thrown a little bit behind you or right at your back, almost as that one was, you have a tendency sometimes to back right into. Did it get him on the elbow, the forearm?
It's like right at the point of the elbow. Well, that can be painful.
And it's on his throwing arm, too, which, if it should stiffen up, will make it difficult for Concepcion to make some throws. He's a valuable piece of property. This year he didn't have quite the year they expected of him.
In the meantime, Dick Pohl has joined Roger Moretta in the Red Sox bullpen. This has been a long inning for Don Gullett to be sitting in that dugout. Morgan and Cleveland must have taken about 10 minutes for their cat and mouse game.
Remember, Concepcion's arm's hurt, not his leg. He rarely gets thrown out when he attempts to steal a base. And Willoughby, long and lanky from the side, not noted for quickness.
That's right. Concepcion swiped 33 out of 39 this year.
Kurt Sparky Anderson getting rookie Doug Flynn up and loosening in the Cincinnati bullpen in the event that Concepcion has to come out.
Well, that elbow could stiffen up on him. Willoughby with his stretch. There goes the runner. There's a throwdown. And it's an easy steal for Concepcion.
He's been taught an awful lot about base stealing by Joe Morgan. You can see they've got almost identical leads. 1 foot on the dirt, 1 foot on the artificial surface, and it's just no contest for Carlton Fisk.
The Reds now have stolen 6 bases in this series in 8 attempts. Concepcion is second. Morgan stole in the first. Concepcion here in the 6th. Ball 2, 2-0 to Cesar Geronimo. He's flied out and grounded out. There's Doug Flynn, the utility infielder, warming up. Don Gullett, the Red pitcher, due up next. He blasts that one foul down the right field line.
I think it's a cute story told about Doug Flynn standing out there in the bullpen. He was saying, all year long they've been telling me how unfortunate I am to have to break in with a team that has Rose, Concepcion, Morgan. He says, now they're telling me how fortunate you are because look what it's going to pay you. About $20,000.
Tony, Sparky Anderson feels this young man is the best all-around utility infielder in the National League.
The 2-1 delivery. Foul back. Well, how good is he? Can he press any of those regulars next year?
I don't think he can, not with the Reds infield, Kurt. He does an excellent job at second base. He can really turn the double play, has good hands. That's his best position.
Every club needs a good utility man, though, in case of injuries. That could be a key player for you. He checks the swing in his 3-2. In fact, we were asking Red Sox manager Darrell Johnson about next year. That is Johnny Bench's wife. The 3-2 delivery. There's a bounding ball hit down to first. 2 down. Concepcion moves to third. One of the surprise sports shots of all time on television.
Standing ovation for Don Gullett. Appreciation for the one-hitter he's thrown. And Don Gullett right now, bet, wishes he could get that one off-speed pitch. Looked like a forkball. He threw to Denny Doyle, the triple in the right field corner. He might be riding on a no-hitter. And he goes out for the 7th.
Don Gullett. He has struck out and singled. Fouls it back. 0-1. He has pitched a one-hitter tonight. And right now has a 4-run lead to work on when he comes out for the 7th inning. Concepcion rubbing that elbow down there at third. 0-2. There's Dave. Evidently he's going to come on back out and play defensive ball in the top of the 7th. The 2-strike pitch. Billett strikes out. The Reds had 3 runs. They had 2 hits. There were no errors. They left one at the end of 6, 5-1. We're watching Concepcion. He got hit on that right elbow, his throwing elbow. We're watching him in infield practice throw over to first.
He's got that right hand bandaged up, Marty. What's that from?
Tony, he was hit by a pitch during the season from Montreal right-hander Dale Murray and suffered a small broken bone, was out maybe 3 weeks, and he's had it taped up heavily ever since that time.
Kurt, you broadcasters know what that can be. If you get hit on that ulnar nerve, sometimes broadcasters get that from leaning on their elbows, don't they, and cupping their ear.
Broadcaster's elbow.
I thought you were going to say leaning on a bar.
And if that, if that bothers him, where he can't throw, loses the feeling in that hand, might mean something if he can't come back.
What do you mean, you broadcast?
I didn't
what
say
you.
I'm just here talking about baseball, I think. There's a microphone in my face.
Well, let's see now. Here's Gullett out. He's got a 1-hitter going for himself. He's allowed only 1 base runner since the first inning. The 1 hit was by Denny Doyle, a triple in the first. Doyle scored in Yastrzemski's fly ball. And the first pitch to Yastrzemski's a ball. Yastrzemski a sacrifice fly, and he's lined to center. He hits a bounding ball down to Perez at first. It is a foul ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Gullett has been a tremendous pitcher in this ballpark. This year he won 10 and lost 1 during the regular season. He had a win in the playoffs, so he's 11 out of 12 decisions here at home in 1975. A 1-1 pitch. Yastrzemski pops it up. Perez coming on and foul ground. And the Red Sox have 1 down in the 7th. This is our last game of the 75 series here in Cincinnati. And as usual, we've been treated magnificently by Bob Howsam, the president of the Reds, Dick Wagner, their vice president, their PR director, Jim Ferguson, all their hospitality. This is really a well-run ball club here. It is a machine, not only on the field, but the way it's run, the way they merchandise and showcase baseball. No balls and 1 strike to Carlton Fisk. Gullett has struck him out twice. The 0-1 delivery. Curve a little bit low as he goes to the breaking pitch on Fisk. Fisk being played deep straight away. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Gullett's got a good rhythm going now. He's getting the ball back, getting his sign in a hurry. He wants to throw the ball. He's anxious to pitch. It won't surprise me if the Red Sox start stepping out.
Fisk pops it up. Bench back toward the screen. And it lands on top of one of our cameras down there.
That's better than on the cameraman.
2 balls and 2 strikes.
You all right down there, Al Rice?
I get a kick. I saw Jack Bennett before the game. He's been with us for years. I said, where you work? He said, high first. Used to be, won him back to home plate, won him back to first and third years ago. Now they have him high and low. We have 10 cameras working this ball game tonight. Foul ball. Gullett is just overpowering tonight. They're not getting around. They're popping him up.
He's got a good curveball going now, too. That's what that was to Fisk, a hard curve.
Reds think he's the best left-hander in baseball. The way he looks tonight, I wouldn't argue.
Kurt, you talk about Don Gullett. The Red Sox are seeing the real Don Gullett, and they're also seeing the real Big Red Machine for maybe the first time.
The 2-2 delivery. Fisk drives it into deep left. Foster backs up and takes it. Line drive by Fisk to Foster left.
Now, only a left-hander would do what's going on in the Red Sox bullpen. Bill Lee loosening up for his next start. He is pitching from a distance about twice 60 feet 6 inches. That catcher's way back. Tim Blackwell past home plate, but that's Bill Lee.
Oh, he's a left-hander all the way, isn't he? Foul back by Freddie Lynn, who's popped up and struck out. 5-1. The Reds ahead. The Red Sox batting in the 7th. Rico Petrocelli is the on-deck batter. That's a fastball on the inside corner, strike 2. Gullett is overpowering the rookie Lynn tonight. Lynn pops it up. Coming on, Geronimo, waiting, and has it. And again, Gullett sails through the Red Sox lineup. We're coming to the home half, the 7th, with a score. Cincinnati 5, Boston 1. Pete Rose has had a perfect night. A single, a walk, a double. He's knocked in a run. Last of the 7, top of the Red batting order. Rose, Griffey, and Morgan. Reds sitting on top of a 5-1 lead. He's a bunny's way on. Foul ball. Willoughby on the mound for the Red Sox. Reggie Cleveland hammered out of the 6th inning. A 3-run homer by Tony Perez. To touch normally in the regular season. You have to get off the mound. Here's a drive by Rose in the deep left. Benitez going back. He'll have room and takes it on the warning track. You have to get off the mound. You want to put your hand up to your mouth. But tonight the umpires are giving the pitcher that's about 50 degrees special permission to blow on their pitching hand. And you see Willoughby now and then do that. Ken Griffey has struck out, lined out, popped up, 0 for 3.
Before Griffey went up to the plate, Joe Morgan popped out of the dugout and had a talk with him. I don't know if he was telling him something about Willoughby's pitching or something about his move to first base or to home plate if he gets on.
Willoughby missing outside, 1-0. Cincinnati leading 5-1. Last of the 7th. There's Morgan on deck. Now he's behind him 2-0. Reds' longest losing streak at home this year has been 2 games. They lost twice, 3 times in a row. They've lost only 18 games there all year, including the regular season, the playoffs, and the World Series. Two and one. Well, they've got the club for everything in this ballpark. Hitting, defense, and speed. They didn't have the starting pitching for complete games, but they had the bullpen to back it up. And a great young left-hander in Gullett. In the last 2 months, in the last 50 Cincinnati games, their staff produced only 2 complete games. Both by Don Gullett. Slow bound to Doyle. Scoops it over. Fisk trying to back it up. And that's little Denny Doyle, who raced over to pick up his own errant throw.
That'll show you speed when you feel as an infielder you can't even take time to take the ball out of your glove. Watch him shuffle it with his gloved hand. The only chance he had on Griffey. What a play by Fisk backing it up. Although the ball did not go in the dugout, he came barreling into that screen. Darrell Johnson out now, and we'll see if the information that Morgan relayed to Griffey was something about Willoughby's move if he stays in the ball game. 2 left-handers warming up, so Darrell playing percentages might go to Moret, who should be loose.
Carlton Fisk has dived into the camera box. He slid into the wire fence in front of the red dugout trying to back up that throw. And the 2 left-handers are out there now with Morgan, a left-handed batter, due up, and then Johnny Bench. Johnson sticks with Willoughby. Now that Griffey could get to first base.
38 infield hits during the season, Kurt, and that was, well, a typical play right there. A slow bounding ball to the right side of the infield, and Doyle really did the only thing he could do to have any chance on it.
5-1. The Reds ahead, batting in the last of the 7th. Griffey back.
You know, you could take a picture of the three base stealers, Morgan, Concepcion, and Griffey, where they finally end up, and their 2 feet would be in almost identical spots. Look at that. The same leads, all taught by Joe Morgan.
Griffey stole 16 out of 23 this year. The Reds set an all-time record, stealing over 80% successfully. 83% to be exact. No major league club has ever been that successful in running the bases. 1 ball, no strikes. To Morgan, who is single, flying out on Watt. That's Griffey looking at first, Yastrzemski holding.
Marty, Joe, I understand, when he was hitting in that 3rd spot, didn't like guys running off first base to steal bases. Finally, Sparky talked to him and said, with 2 strikes, is it all right? And he said, yeah.
Tony, that's a good point because it does bother Joe Morgan. As you know, some hitters it doesn't affect, some it does, and it bothered him considerably.
Willoughby's trying to keep Griffey close. 1 ball, no strikes to Morgan. 5-1, Reds. There goes Griffey. That drive, great stab by Burleson. A little flip to first with a double play. What a catch.
He was going over to cover the bag on the steal attempt. Got in a little bit better position. You could see the expression on Morgan's face. He said, oh, almost as if he could read what was going to happen. A great play by Burleson.
So at the end of 7, it's still Cincinnati 5 and Boston 1. We're going to the 8th inning. And Don Gullett of Lynn, Kentucky, has pitched a 1-hitter. Here in Game 5 of the World Series, that hit came in the 1st inning. There's a high drive to deep left center by Rico Petrocelli, and Geronimo right back up against the wall. Well, he doesn't waste any time drawing a beat on a ball. He knows right where to go, and he's there.
The balls hit high in the air don't seem to be carrying, but of course Tony Perez's balls were rising line drives. He hit them so hard.
Dwight Evans line out to left twice. Only 2 base runners for Boston tonight. Doyle, who tripled in the 1st, and Beniquez, who walked in the 6th. 5-1, Cincinnati. You Simon and Garfunkel fans, and there are millions in this country, they're going to be reunited this Saturday night on NBC's Saturday Night, 11:30 Eastern Time. What music they wrote together. Really great young entertainers. You'll see them Saturday night on NBC as you watch Rick Burleson on deck. Evans. On that sharp breaking curve by Gullett, who has everything going for him now. He's got a lead, he's got the stuff, the control. He's working very quickly. Outside, 2-2.
Marty, he hasn't thrown too many pitches, but is there something that Larry Shepard or Sparky Anderson look for if he is going to tire?
He'll start to drop down a little bit, Tony, and Larry Shepard will normally immediately come out.
Evans smacks a single up the middle. According to Sparky Anderson, Evans has been the #1 player in this World Series for the Red Sox. The player that has most impressed him. Here's Rick Burleson, who popped up and flied to right. He's had quite a series. Something unusual tonight, it's a quiet Cincinnati bullpen. They used 3 pitchers in the opening game, 4 in the 2nd, 5 in the 3rd, 4, and now suddenly McEnany goes to work. A little pop out into left center, waiting for Geronimo, and Burleson is flied out. 2 down. Evans holds at first. Doug Griffin, a right-hander, will come out.
Eastwick, the right-hander, McEnany, the left-hander. Sparky's got him going. Old Captain Hook's. Well, that's it, old Captain Hook.
Sparky told me a cute story tonight. I'm walking down the street today, and a fella stopped me and said, I want to tell you something, Sparky. You better win tonight. And Sparky said, don't ever tell me I better do something.
Wasn't Bob Housen, was it?
That's the guy. Oh. He was muttering about that. This fan said, "You better win." Doug Griffin batting for the pitcher, Willoughby. This is his first appearance in the World Series, a right-hander. Denny Doyle beat him out the latter part of the season with a second base job. Gullett sitting on top of a 5-1 lead. Evans at first, 2 down. Pitch is low, ball 2. Anderson watching his pitcher. There's one of the all-time heroes with the glasses in Cincinnati baseball history, Big Clue, Ted Kluszewski. He's their hitting coach. 2-1.
He's also in the Polish Hall of Fame.
Where we're trying to get you. Having a very difficult time with it, though. Carlton Fisk and the on-deck man. Or who would be on deck? Benicus was on deck, but that was Doyle you saw around the bat rack. 3 balls and a strike to Doug Griffin. Only 1 walk issued by Don Gullett. Strike 2. Griffin, 3-2. 5 runs, 8 hits for the Reds. 1 run, 2 hits for the Red Sox.
How easy Johnny Bench makes it look. There's Evans.
Evans is going. That's a line drive to Joe Morgan. And the side's retired. No runs, a hit, 1 left. We're going to the last of the 8th. It is still 5-1 Cincinnati. Right, Simon and Garfunkel. Saturday night on NBC, and right now we're in the last of the 8th inning. I know one thing. There's one man going to get a standing ovation when he comes up tonight, and he'll follow Johnny Bench, who'll lead off the inning, and that's Tony Perez, who had gone hitless in 15 times, then came up in the 4th inning, hit a home run, came back up in the 6th inning, and hit a 3-run homer. He's one of the all-time popular players in Cincinnati, and his fans were delighted to see a frustrated man break out of it here in the final game in Cincinnati of the 75 series. Johnny Bench lined into a double play to left, lined out to 3rd, and had a single to right. The Reds scored a run in the 4th, a run in the 5th, and 3 in the 6th. The Red Sox had their run in the 1st inning. The new pitcher is Dick Pole. He was out with an injury this year. On deck is Perez.
Pole had his jaw broken, a line drive. He has a good live arm. They say his fastball moves more than anybody's on the staff. That's what he has trouble with, the control. Good curveball. He has trouble keeping it in the strike zone. But his fastball sinks.
How do you pronounce Tony's name here in Cincinnati, Marty?
Kubek.
I mean the on-deck man.
Perez.
Perez. I think Kubek is correct. He says Perez. Perez.
I guess that's the Latin American pronunciation. Perez.
Buck Cannell said it's like saying Pete Rose, the way you say it, you fellas. Pitches ball 3, strike 1 to Johnny Bench. Pete Rose.
You can pronounce his name any way you want today, but put star in front of it so far in the game.
Johnny Bench, 3-1 count. He's on. Here is Tony Perez coming up. Now here's a standing ovation for him. And he has a chance to tie a record. Only one man in the history of the World Series has ever hit 3 homers in a World Series game. And, of course, that was the immortal Babe Ruth, who did it twice. When the Babe did things, he did it big. Perez has knocked in 4 runs tonight. The pitch is low for a ball, 1-0. The Reds are leading 5-1, batting in the last of the 8th inning. The Red Sox last chance in the 9th. They'll have the top of their order, Benicus, Doyle, and Yastrzemski.
And you can't get too careless with Bench down on first base because he'll surprise you, as he has several pitchers this year.
He has stolen 12 out of 12 this season. Fastball's outside Perez. 2-0. Sort of puts them all to sleep and then takes off, doesn't he, Marty?
Yes, he does, Kurt. Most of the steals, in fact, every one of the steals that he had were delayed steals.
That's a smart ball player. 2 balls, no strikes. 3-0 to Perez. Cole walk Bench. Now he's dropped behind Perez, 3-0. Perez looking down for hit or take. I'll have to have him swinging. They have just had the largest crowd in the 107-year history of the Reds. A standing room only crowd of 56,393. And this is the first professional baseball club, you know, the old Cincinnati Red Stockings.
They have a good club, Kurt.
Yeah, I like it. He didn't have the speed this club had. Perez walked. He didn't get a chance for that third homer tonight.
Stan Williams is going to pop out now. Darrell Johnson has Rogelio Moret throwing a left-hander and Diego Segui a right-hander.
Dick Paul has walked Bench and Perez. 5-1, the Reds on top.
It'll be something to see, Kurt, when we get to Fenway for Game 6 and 7, if the right-handers continue to swing the bats.
Well, we'll find out at Fenway Saturday. Right now we have a break in the action right here in Riverfront Stadium. And there's your score, 5-1 Cincinnati.
Diego Segui, the new Red Sox pitcher, a man who has struggled through this year, but has never missed the call when Darrell Johnson has wanted him. He has a forkball, fastball, and one game this season, Joe Garagiola and I did a game, Kurt and Marty, and we got on Diego Segui a little bit. He was upset with us, and possibly we owe him an apology because we may have gotten on him too much and made fun of him. Diego Segui.
Well, he's taking his warm-up pitches. He's waiting to face George Foster. If you've joined us late, the Red Sox scored in the first inning their lone run of the game. A triple by Denny Doyle. He came in to score, and Carl Yastrzemski sacrifice fly. Then the Reds in the fourth. Perez homered. In the fifth, they picked up another run. Gullett scoring on Rose's double, and Perez hit a 3-run homer in the sixth. Runners on first and second, nobody out. As Foster steps in, last of the eighth inning. This is the fourth pitcher for the Red Sox tonight. Don Gullett has gone all the way for Cincinnati. Fly ball, deep right. Bench may tag at second. Evans has it. Bench is coming. Here's a throw. And it hit the runner going in. Johnny in the back going into the bag. Holding at first base was Perez.
We'll get a good shot right here to see what kind of arm Dwight Evans has. The ball hit Johnny in the back. Dwight had tried to throw it all the way on the fly. He overthrew his cutoff man, but he was showing off that great arm he has. Had it not hit him, it might have been close, fellas. Or it might have bounced over Petrocelli's head in the dugout, too. Here comes Bench from another angle, right at you. There's the ball hitting him.
Well, he winds up at third. Bench. Perez at first, one out. And Dave Concepcion moves in. He has grounded out twice and has been hit by a pitch ball. Got hit on the right elbow, his throwing elbow. He stayed in the game. 4-run lead for the Reds in the last of the eighth. Game 6 in Boston Saturday. Bill Lee, a left-hander, against Jack Billingham, a right-hander. Start at 12:30. Eastern Time.
Daryl Johnson's got his infield playing back in the first and third situation and 1 out. He can't afford to give up any more runs. Concepcion is a tough man to double up with his speed.
And they have Geronimo on deck. Reds about hit the Red Sox 8-2. He fouls it back. Reds have had everything tonight. Base running, power, pitching, and defense. They've excelled in every department of the game thus far. One ball, one strike. Runners on first and third. Perez had a steal here the other night. Let's see if he tries to go again. McGee's pitch. That's outside, 2-1. 2-1 to Dave Concepcion.
Once again, Fisk, you can see him turn on home plate umpire George Maloney, upset with the call. Diego Segui was also upset. It puts him in a hole now, 2 balls and 1 strike.
The Red Sox have a special charter plane. They'll fly out here after the game. I think the Reds leave tomorrow, don't they, Marty?
10 o'clock, Kurt.
2-1. Foul back. Let's hope we get better weather Saturday than we had last Sunday in Boston.
That last swing, Concepcion's right arm flew off the bat. We can't tell if that's an indication or not, whether that elbow is bothering him.
Runners on first and third, 1 down. Reds are batting in the last of the 8th, leading 5-1. 2-2 pitch to Concepcion. There goes Perez. Fly ball to right field. Bench is tagging. Evans has it. Here comes Bench. A throw by Evans. Cut off by Yastrzemski. Sacrifice fly and a run batted in for Concepcion. And the Reds lead 6-1.
This is more the Cincinnati kind of team, Marty Brenneman, that you saw all year long, executing the way they have, getting the fly ball to drive home a run.
Absolutely, Tony. As Kurt said, the Reds have had a blend of everything tonight that, well, this club won 108 games during the regular season. When you talk about have they played well enough in this World Series up to this ball game, this pretty much tells the story of why this club had the kind of year it had.
Geronimo has been blanked. 0 for 3. Perez at first, 2 down. Pitch is high. The Red Sox last hope in the 9th. Beniquez, Doyle, and Yastrzemski facing left-hander Don Gullett.
Of course, the Reds tonight aren't facing Louis Tiant. It'll be interesting if we do get to Game 7, whether the Reds will have solved Tiant's deliveries by that time.
A 1-0 pitch. 2-0. Well, we know Billingham pitched well at Fenway for a few innings with his sinker ball. Lee was excellent. That'll be a good matchup on Saturday. Lee throws a lot of sinking stuff, breaking ball pitches, and Billingham's a sinking ball pitcher. Talk all they want about that green wall. That wind's coming in. They'll have trouble hitting it again. There's a drive into right center. Fred Lynn flags down. 3 long outfield flies by the Reds there in the last of the 8th. 1 run, no hits, 1 left. We're going to the 9th. Cincinnati leading 6-1. Preceding announcement was furnished as a public service by Major League Baseball. Don Gullett has spun a 2-hitter tonight. If Gullett pitches a 2-hitter, it'll be the first in a series game since Nelson Briles' victory in 1971. It'll be Gullett's first series victory against win-loss if he holds on. Well, it's odd, Marty, that in the 72, 73, and 74 World Series, we did not have a complete game. Tiant's already pitched 2 complete games in this series. And Gullett made a night, even though they have warm-up action in the Cincinnati bullpen. 2-0 to Juan Beniquez. He's grounded out, popped up, and walked. 6-1 Cincinnati. And he's way high and wild with that one. 3-0. 3 balls, no strikes. The 3-0 delivery. A strike with a fastball, 3-1. Gullett has walked only 1. Given up 2 hits, 3 base runners against him tonight. 3-2. You seen him any better this year, Marty?
No, I haven't, Kurt. I haven't seen him any better than this in 2 years, to be honest about it.
Well, when he had to be great, he was great tonight. And there's a strikeout. Benitez is gone. 7 strikeouts for Don Gullett. This was a big one for him to give the Reds the lead if he holds on to it here to go back to Boston. The Red Sox would have had the momentum had they knocked Gullett out tonight. It's still not over yet, but he has just been overpowering. 7 strikeouts and a walk and only 2 hits. Benny Doyle, who tripled, grounded out twice, has strike 1 to him. Don Larson, of course, pitched the perfect game. The only no-hitter in World Series history. We've had 4 one-hitters. Ed Ruhlbach of the Cubs in 1906. Claude Passeau of the Cubs in 45. Foul ball out of play. Jim Lomberg of the Red Sox against the Cards at 6-7. And Floyd Bevins of the Yankees, he had his no-hitter spoiled. 2 down in the 9th inning by pinch hitter Cookie Lavagetto. And here's a masterpiece tonight by Gullett. The 1-2 pitch. Bounding ball to the right side to Morgan. Makes the play to Perez, and they're 2 down.
Kurt, an interesting point is overpowering as Don Gullett has been tonight. Denny Doyle has been able to pull him to the right side 3 times.
He has really put the bat on the ball better than any Red Sox player tonight. Yastrzemski. Sacrifice fly to right, line to center, and fouled out. 0 for 2. Some of the fans filing for the exit. He's rammed it into center field. Keep the Red Sox hopeful alive. With 2 down, he singles. So it's 6-1 now. The Reds have 8 hits. The Red Sox 3 hits. Carlton Fisk has struck out twice and lined out to left. Red Sox down to their final out. At the top of the 9th inning. Don Gullett trying to nail it down. Ian Perez have been the stars tonight. There's a base hit in the left field by Carlton Fisk. And after 2 out, nobody on, Yastrzemski and Fisk both single. Here's Sparky Anderson coming out. He's getting some boos, some cheers. He skips the line. That's one of his superstitions.
Kurt, when he comes out, it's normally going to mean that he's going to bring his pitcher back with him. Left-handed hitter Fred Lynn coming up next. He's got McEnany, who's been throwing down there, but the way things look now, maybe Sparky's going to let him stay in.
Funny, I look like Johnny Benches. How do you feel? Dallas, I'm all right. Now Sparky gets a hand as he comes back into the dugout. Gullett has handled Lynn with a pop-up, a strikeout, and a fly ball. 2 down. That last out's always the hardest to get. 6-1, Cincinnati in the top of the 9th inning. Yastrzemski at second, Fisk at first. The pitch is high to Lynn for a ball. Gullett again, and there's a high foul sailing into the seats. 1 ball, 1 strike to Fred Lynn. The Reds did not have a complete game in the 72 series, nor this series so far. As Gullett is very close. There's 1-1 pitch. Curveball, strike two. 1-2. The 1-2 delivery. Dribbled foul. Don Gullett 1 strike away of sending the Reds into a 3-2 lead when the two teams go back to Boston for Game 6. Two down. Here's the 1-2 delivery, and he hits it fair down the right field line into the corner. Yastrzemski's in to score. Fisk goes to third, and in the second is Lynn with a double. And the Red Sox have had 3 hits in a row after 2 out, nobody on. An RBI for Lynn. That makes the score now 6-2, and Sparky Anderson's getting ready to move out. A right-hander, Petrocelli, is due up next. Here's Anderson coming out. Don Gullett suddenly lost it in the ninth with 2 down, nobody on. Yastrzemski hit a single to center, Fisk a single to left, and Lynn a double into the right field corner.
Well, coming in
There's
now.
a hand. What an ovation for Don Gullett.
Pitched the whale of a ball game, Kurt. As you said, he lost it very, very quickly in the 9th inning. He struck out Beniquez leading off on a good live fastball. And with 2 down, 3 straight hits, and well, again, we see Sparky Anderson go to his bullpen for the 4th time in this series and bring on right-hander Raleigh Eastwick. There's a break in the action here at Cincinnati. The score, the Cincinnati Reds 6, the Boston Red Sox 2.
When Don Gullett got the first 2 men out, Beniquez and Doyle with nobody on, I think you'd have bet your home that he was going to pitch a complete game. And suddenly the Red Sox came to life with 3 hits in a row, and now Raleigh Eastwick is in for his 4th game of this series. He's allowed only 1 run in 6 2/3 innings of relief. And he's facing Rico Petrocelli, who has struck out and fly to center field twice. Fisk is at third, Lynn's at second, 2 down. 6-2 Cincinnati. A strike for Rico Petrocelli. Petrocelli's hit safely in every game except this one. Burleson, who'd hit safely in every game, has been checked tonight. But Doyle continues his streak. Foul ball back. Eastwick is 2 strikes to Rico Petrocelli. Not a very happy Red Sox dugout. Oh, 2. 2 down. 2 men in scoring position. 9th inning. There it is. Eastwood strikes Petrocelli out, and the Reds lead 3-2. In the 9th inning, the Red Sox had a hit, a 1 run, 3 hits, no errors. They left 2. Don Gullett did the job for him tonight, aided by a big bat of Tony Perez, who slammed 2 homers and knocked in 4. So they now will go to Boston Saturday afternoon with a